We're less than a week away from the start of the 2023-24 NBA season. Most likely there aren't any moves left around the NBA that could drastically change the landscape of the next season. Preseason's practically over, the rosters have been set. So it's a good time to look at all the teams, consider what they've done during the offseason. Who did what can we expect, which team so far looks like a title contender, and which team most likely will take a step back. Join me as I'll try to rank every NBA team from worst to best entering the upcoming 2023-24 NBA season. Let's get started. Number 30, Charlotte Hornets. I like LaMelo Ball, but he can't take this team higher all alone. Additionally, he has had his fair share of injury trouble, so health is quite a concern. Kai Jones was waived, Miles Bridges' status is uncertain, hell there's even uncertainty with the coach and GM. I like Charlotte's young players, including the second overall draft pick this year in Brandon Miller, but it seems like this will be a hard year and possibly a wasted year for the Hornets. If everything goes great, they could make playing games, but I can't count on LaMelo's health or see any of the issues that this team has resolving before the season start. Number 22, Washington Wizards. Beal is gone, Porzingis is gone. They added Jordan Poole, but he seems more like a player that could help them stay afloat rather than a superstar who could take the Wizards back in the playoff picture. They still have Kuzma, Tyus Jones. They have some quality players who have proved their worth in this league. This season feels like a step back though. They might use it for developing some young players, maybe trading away some proven commodities and getting ready for the future. Stealing a couple of games and having a good start to the season isn't out of question, but most likely, when it's all said and done, Washington will be one of the bottom feeders. Number 28, Portland Trailblazers. This isn't Damian Lillard's team anymore. After years of speculation and trying to squeeze in the playoffs, the Portland Trailblazers have pushed the reset button and traded away their superstar. That means that the team will be worse, at least for this season. They have some good players. They have DeAndre Ayton now, some other veterans that will help win some games, and the young pieces they added via draft and free agency are intriguing. Expect exciting games, but not a lot of wins for now. Number 27, Toronto Raptors. And it seems like the Raptors are going in the reset direction as well. They lost Fred VanVleet, who wasn't a superstar but did make it way easier for frontcourt players. Team's GM Ujiri said that they explored trades for stars, but as we see, nothing materialized, which means that most likely the Raptors will be one of the teams to blow it up. It pains to put the Raptors so low on the list because they really have some talented players who can win games. I just think that the team is going in a different direction and some of those players will get traded during the season and Raptors will go on a full reset. Number 26, Detroit Pistons. One more year. I think it takes one more year before Detroit realistically can battle for at least a play-in spot. Hiring Monty Williams was the right choice as he's proven he can take a bunch of young players and make them into something. Cade Cunningham's growth will really dictate what is the team's ceiling this season, whether it's the bottom 4 of the league or a possible play-in battle. They added and kept some shooting, but for the team to really ascend, they will need a star. Can Cade be that star? I guess we will find out this season. Number 25, San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are in their last phases of rebuilding. The Spurs have some very good young players and this is starting to look like a team that can contend in a couple of years. All eyes will be on them because of Victor Wembanyama, who's been deemed the best prospect since LeBron James, or maybe even better than LeBron James. That's quite high expectations for a rookie. And while he has shown some great skills during preseason, he's also had his brick moments, which I think will be the Spurs season, filled with ups and downs, promising, exciting, but without a play-in spot. Number 24, Houston Rockets. I would take the Spurs over the Rockets any day of the week. I just think that strictly for this season, they will have more wins. The Rockets have their own good young players, and during the summer they added Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks, and what can't be overlooked, a proven coach in Ime Udoka. All of their young players will have to make a leap for Rockets to contend for the playoffs, but now they at least have some veteran presence in the locker room and some players who have won before. That might just have a positive effect on the team. Number 23, Chicago Bulls. This is one of those teams that clearly has no direction. They have too many good players to be the worst, but as a group, they can't even be mediocre. Lonzo Ball most likely will miss the whole season, and their GM says that they want to play fast and change their shooting profile to become more dangerous behind the arc. But they draft a player who didn't shoot threes well, they still have DeMar DeRozan who doesn't shoot threes, and they have Nikola Vucevic who is a good player but won't help them win anything meaningful. I think they win some games, but by the trade deadline they finally realize this team isn't going anywhere and blows it up. Number 22, Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic were one of the teams that improved the most during last season. Paolo Banchero will be in his second year now, and Orlando has added some more young players to the mix. Franz Wagner can hopefully follow up his FIBA performance, and Markelle Fultz maybe finally can add a consistent three-point shot. I don't expect a 12-win improvement from last year. They will need a much better defense and three-point shooting for that. What I do expect is Orlando competing for those last play-in spots though. Number 21, Indiana Pacers. Like Orlando, Indiana can also build something special, with time. They have a good young point guard in Tyrese Halliburton, they added Bruce Brown and Obi Toppin, they still have Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. All solid players who will help the Indiana Pacers to be somewhat relevant. It remains to be seen what actually happens to Buddy Hield as he's been on the trade block for the past couple of years. Not a playoff team by any means, but a playing contender for sure. Number 20, Utah Jazz. Last season, Utah was the hottest team in the league, for the first month or so. After winning 10 of 13 games to start the season, Utah went on multiple losing streaks and in the end couldn't even secure a play-in spot. Their first year head coach did a fantastic job overall, but second year could be harder. They re-signed Jordan Clarkson, still have Lauri Markkanen, and they also acquired John Collins. Colin Sexton is also there. So they have some good players. Time will tell how all of it will mix together, but as it stands now, I don't see them much more as a playing team. Number 19, Brooklyn Nets. After Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving left the Nets, the team went on a downward spiral. Continuous struggles from Ben Simmons, even getting benched, certainly didn't help an otherwise good young squad. Mikal Bridges' pickup was very valuable. Nick Claxton looks like a piece to keep. Spencer Dinwiddie, Cameron Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith are all good players. Honestly, Brooklyn could be one of those teams that for real are like one piece away from being a playoff team. That or maybe a resurgence from Ben Simmons. He says he's healthy, and so far during the preseason he certainly has looked better than all of last season. At the end of the day, all of those are what ifs. So for now, number 19, Brooklyn Nets. Number 18, Atlanta Hawks. This team is a wildcard for me. They have a very good guard rotation with Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, and Patty Mills as a backup. But can they play off each other? Last season was a mixed bag. They have traded away John Collins. Clint Capella is good but not great. They certainly have shooting with Bogdan Bogdanovic on the wing. But this team, as it is presently constructed, seems just weird. They can certainly win games, but not for long stretches. Additionally, just during the summer, there were rumors about Trae Young getting traded. What if that comes to fruition? Quinn Snyder will certainly have his work cut out for him. Number 17, New Orleans Pelicans. This team should be so much higher based on the players they have. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, Jonas Valanciunas, Jose Alvarado. They have a boatload of good, talented, young players. The biggest question mark surrounding this team for the last few seasons has been Zion's health. He seems to be healthy now, but the season hasn't started yet. Hopefully it's not the case of playing 10 games to sit out 20 again. So far in his career, it has been. So until Zion proves he can stay healthy, I can't put this team higher, even though talent-wise they might be closer to top 10. Number 16, Minnesota Timberwolves. Another talented team that somehow just can't put it all together year after year. Karl Anthony Towns, when can he finally take his game to the next level? Rudy Gobert had a rough season and we can for sure say he wasn't worth all those draft picks, but I expect him to be better. Anthony Edwards is growing before our very eyes, and Jaden McDaniels is also a stud. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Troy Brown Jr., Kyle Anderson, the talent is there. Maybe Mike Conley can provide them with some leadership for this otherwise young roster who desperately needs some success after so many failures. Number 15, Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic alone could drag Mavericks into a playing spot, and Kyrie Irving to the mix, and the Mavericks should be playoff contenders. While the rest of the roster isn't so impressive, you still have some shooting in Seth Curry and Tim Hardaway, Maxi Kleber can be that glue guy, and Dwight Powell is an okay player. And that's about it. Many teams, even the ones that are lower on this list, might just have a better overall roster, but it's hard for me to ignore two super talents on this squad. With a year of playing together, I expect this season to be much more smoother than last year's. And if the rest of the roster comes together and do their part, this could be one of those teams that you don't want to play against. Number 14, New York Knicks. I still can't decide if I want to consider the Knicks a legit playoff team that can make a run or just a playing team. The talent is there and Jalen Brunson is awesome. The Knicks are currently in one of the more successful periods as a franchise over the last 20 years, which doesn't say much except of how horrible they have been before. Brunson is the best player on this squad, but the key player here is Julius Randle. Year after year he has been awesome during the regular season, but fails miserably when the playoffs come. He's a max guy, at least that's how the team valued him, but until he proves that he really is that dude, the Knicks can't go much beyond the first round of the playoffs. Number 13, Sacramento Kings. Last season was a great success for the Kings. They improved exponentially by winning 18 more games than the year before. I don't expect 18 more wins this year, but they still should be very good. Everything was clicking for them. They were one of the best teams in the West and at one point were real contenders. That was until the playoffs, where Sabonis got exposed. De'Aaron Fox is great and they have talent around the roster. I feel that they will still hover around those 50 wins like last season. It's just that I also feel that other teams in the West got so much better. Number 12, Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are my Sacramento Kings from the East. A young, very talented team who has a high ceiling, but maybe needs that one additional piece or another season under their belt before they can be considered contenders. Donovan Mitchell will be his scoring self. Darius Garland should improve, and Jared Allen is a great center for the squad. Oh, and don't forget about Evan Mobley as well. Max Strus arrival will help to bolster their shooting, and when I look at the Cavaliers, I see a very young and exciting team. Maybe just too young to really contend for a championship. Number 11, Oklahoma City Thunder. Perhaps a team that has one of the brightest futures in this league. So much young talent and they are already playing very well together. Shea is an MVP candidate, Jalen Williams is another great player in the making, Josh Giddey does everything and does it well. We're also finally gonna see Chet Holmgren in action, another highly touted rookie who unfortunately had to miss his debut season last year. They do lack some shooting still in my opinion. They added Davis Bertans, who's a great shooter, but for the second unit. So there are still some weak areas to address, or the players who already were there last season have to progress in that aspect. Either way, expect the Thunder to be close or in the playoffs. They are that talented. Number 10, Memphis Grizzlies. Last season was very colorful for the Memphis Grizzlies. At one moment they were the team to beat in all of the NBA. They seemed unstoppable, like a well-oiled machine. They were even on an 11-game win streak. Ja injury in the playoffs, a lot of smack talk from now ex-Grizzlies players, and the second best team in the West during the regular season was promptly eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. Ja once again will be out for the first 25 games because of his suspension, and if he does something stupid again, next suspension could be much more severe. They brought in Derrick Rose to hold this team together while Ja will miss games, and he also brings leadership to the team that kinda needs it. Marcus Smart will help to solidify that defensive identity, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. Grizzlies can be the best team on any given day, if all the players are on the court and not suspended. That 25-game stretch will be crucial. Because of that suspension, I don't think they make it into the top 3 in the West, and right now I have them right outside that very top echelon of teams who will contend for a championship. Number 9. Philadelphia 76ers. There's a lot of uncertainty in Philly right now. Will James Harden get traded, and if not, how does that impact this team? Can Joel Embiid stay healthy, and what is he thinking about this whole situation? With or without Harden, Tyrese Maxey's growth will dictate how far this team goes. The reigning MVP will do his part, but he needs a partner in crime. Tyrese Maxey seems like a good fit, and the roster around them is competent enough to help Philly once again be one of the top teams in the East. But that's just the East. And a grueling 82-game season, can Embiid's health hold up? More than likely not, but let's hope he can manage his minutes and be somewhat healthy for the playoffs. Like Grizzlies, I consider Philly one of the first teams just outside that very top that contends for a championship. Number 8. Miami Heat. Miami Heat got all the way to the finals last season. In a way, I think they overachieved. That has been the case with them for a while now. Year by year, they are right there, at the top, but something is missing to win it all. After a preseason where a few East teams got so much better, it's hard to put them higher on this list. Lowry will be a year older, they lost Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero is healthy, and Jimmy Butler can will them to playoffs. Heat have always played to the very best of their ability, so no problem there. The effort will be there too. The problem is, Milwaukee and Boston got better. Miami didn't. I love the culture, the team. I just think that both juggernauts in the East have a higher ceiling, and when it comes to those playoff moments, Miami will feel that something is missing again. Number 7. Los Angeles Clippers. Year after year, the Clippers are one of those real contenders to win the NBA championship. And year after year, whether it's health or crumbling under pressure, the Clippers just fail to meet expectations. They seem to have everything. Size, wings, shooting, defense. Seems like all the prerequisites are met. This year, I think of them as a team that once again will look like a contender, but really, it's not. I expect much of the same from them this season. A good to great regular season, missed games by injury or rest, and a playoff exit. Let's be realistic. The Kawhi-Paul George experiment is over. This is the last season we see those two together. Something will change. They'll be a very good team, a tough team to beat for anyone, but very good is not what Steve Ballmer expects. So enjoy the last ride of Kawhi and PG in Los Angeles. Number 6. Golden State Warriors. Speaking of rides that might be coming to an end, so is Golden State's. Curry was once again great last season, and I don't expect any slippage from him. It seems like with every season, Klay is slowing down though, and Draymond isn't getting younger either. They had to get rid of Jordan Poole, but adding Chris Paul to the mix is interesting. He is no spring chicken either, and right now I can't really put my finger on how the Warriors tend to use him and in what lineups. Wiggins should be good as a wing, and Kevon Looney is a rebounding machine. Some of the young players will need to step up though. As long as Curry plays, I will still think of Golden State as a contender. I just have that much respect for what they have done and achieved previously. The ride is coming to an end though. Nothing lasts forever. Without any moves in the future, it's hard to see Golden State as a contender past this season. Number 5. Phoenix Suns. Yes, the Suns made probably the biggest move by adding Bradley Beal. Yes, they probably have the best offensive firepower in the league, but hear me out. First of all, I think that this big 3 period has passed. It's better to have 2 stars and a lot of good to great role players. I like that they replaced Ayton with Nurkic. He will fit better with all the stars. Eric Gordon was also a low-key great acquisition, but besides the 3 stars on the team and a few players I named, do you know any other players on the Phoenix Suns? Yuta Watanabe, Grayson Allen, Jordan Goodwin are all fine players, but I can't point at any of them and say with confidence that that guy can be that leader of the second unit. So the bench and defense are my 2 biggest question marks with this team. Frank Vogel can help with defense, but even his schemes still need players to execute. And chemistry? Preseason looked fine, but regular season is another beast. This team has a great chance to win the title, probably the best chance it ever has had, but all has to come together, and right now I can't put this team over other proven teams. Number 4, Milwaukee Bucks. I know, they should be number 1 or at least number 2 on this list, but let's look at this from my perspective. Dame and Giannis pairing will be great, they complement each other very well. Middleton can finally be the third option, which he is more suited for, and they still kept Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and added Malik Beasley as a shooter. On paper, everything looks perfect. In reality, they will have a new coach, so new system is coming. It will require an adjusting period. While on paper Damian and Giannis look great, it remains to be seen how well will they work together. Giannis has to shoot free throws better, and while me too would replace Drew Holiday with Damian Lillard every day of the week and twice on Sundays, the defense will suffer. This is a better team than last year's, but somebody has to put it all together, and we actually need to see them play together for a bit before announcing them as the next NBA champions. Number 3, Los Angeles Lakers. Finally, after years of changing half of the roster every offseason, the Lakers have decided to mostly run it back. I don't see LeBron James suddenly being much worse. If preseason is an indicator, AD will be a monster this season. Austin Reeves is a star in the making and a key part to this team. He's fresh from great performances with Team USA. D'Angelo Russell has had a great preseason too, and is it just me or I finally see some defense from him? Jared Vanderbilt, Taurean Prince, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes has looked very good so far. Christian Wood addition could be a steal, Max Christie, Cam Reddish. This team could run as far as 12 deep if necessary. The Lakers might just have the deepest team in the NBA, and the best part is, most of the players have returned. That means that they still have the chemistry, they've had a full offseason to work in the new guys, and they still have the best leader in the NBA. I like everything I just said. I don't want to rank them as the number 1 team just because LeBron is about to be 39 years old. Otherwise, I love everything they've done with this team. Number 2, Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics are all in. They traded away some of their depth for a greater ceiling. I think Porzingis fits in perfectly with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Horford will still be there as a veteran presence. And as hard as it is to see Marcus Smart go, I think Drew Holiday is a better player. He brings a lot of the same defensively and offers much more on the offensive side. For a good moment, Boston has been missing a good big that can shoot, defend, and be a threat from beyond the arc. They have it now. And depth can take you only so far if you don't have a proper starting lineup. The depth is a question that they will probably address during the season, but as far as the ceiling goes, I think it's much higher this season. And with a 1 more year of experience for young guns, this is the best Boston Celtics team in my recent memory, and the one who should be one of the favorites to win it all. Number 1, Denver Nuggets. It was really tempting to put someone over the Denver Nuggets, but I just couldn't. They are the reigning champions. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA, Jamal Murray is the perfect teammate from him, and while they lost some players during the summer, they still have Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, KCP, Christian Brown, pretty much all the players that contributed in winning a championship. It is hard to repeat as champions, but the Nuggets players are still in their prime, they are well coached, and now they have battled through it all, and together they become the best team in the NBA. And until someone else takes that throne away from them, I can't put any other team as number 1 entering this upcoming NBA season. So that is my list, guys. What do you think? Who's the best team in the NBA? Who's the worst team? Do you think any of the teams should have been higher or lower? Please leave your comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, share it, and please consider subscribing to the channel. And check out other videos. There's some real interesting stuff about NBA history, NBA legends, and other great stuff. Thanks. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. This is Purple Prince, and I'm out.